I'll tell you after class.
There you go. You can do that. All right, so we're going to get started. So this is what you guys, hopefully I didn't screw up the classes again. This is what you guys should have. You have the tile. We tile the background. We blit the player. We update the image. And then what we can do is if we click the red X, we get your program is still running. Do you want to kill it? What we're doing today is we need to make sure that our character can move, because otherwise it's not that fun to play if our character can't move. So, in this for loop, yes?
How do we put up the numbers on the side?
You go to options and show line numbers. So, what we're going to do is we have a bunch more events. By events, those are inputs in our game. So currently, our only input is if we click the red X to close the window. What we now need to do is we need to add what happens when we push a button down and what happens if that button is up. Because question, if we evaluate whether or not a button is down and then we never evaluate if it's up, what'll happen?
It'll always be out.
Once we click over and let go, our character will always move to the right. So we need to code when it's push down, move. When push up, don't move. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So first,
if not pressing break or something like that.
no, we don't use break at all because we don't want to break out of our loops until we win. So what we need to do is we need to go up here to our variables up top, and we need to make six of them. Because we haven't learned lists yet, we have to do it this way. And it's a little more intuitive to know, as opposed to keys 0 and keys 1 and keys 2 and keys 3, you have player up, down, left, right. So it's a lot easier. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to go player underscore up equals player underscore down equals player underscore right equals and player underscore left equals. And all of these are going to be false, false, false. So the way these variables work, 4 of them, yes. The way these work is if a button is being pushed, player up is true. If it's not being pushed, player up is false. Then we have another section of if statements that if it's true, move it. If it's false, don't.
How would you do a list list? Just out of curiosity.
With a list, you have, in our game, in the game I copy is this.
We did learn how to do
And then later we have if keys bracket 0 equal false, do something. So then you just have to remember that keys 0 is up, keys 0 is down. So it's just a little more confusing as opposed to player up, player down, player right, player left.
Why do you indent everything? Is that?
Why do I what?
Why do you indent everything? Is that like should I do that too?
What do you mean indent everything?
Like just 2 lines and 2 stuff.
Oh, it's just easier for me to read it.
Okay.
I like sectioning off different code. So like if these 4 variables all deal with the same thing, I'm going to group them together and then have spaces on either side. And it's just easier for me to read it.
Is that like chaos in the end?
Is that like what?
Is it like chaos in the end when you're trying to go through the code?
It pays it off for me.
Okay.
Next thing we're going to do is player underscore X and player underscore Y. These are positions, the X and Y positions of our character. Does that make sense? And we'll start at 100, 100. So
We change it and control it like if you want.
starting position of our player. You can change this to whatever in your game, but for now keep it 100 to 100. You can also have, another thing you guys could do, an element for your game is random spawn points. So you could have this be int, actually you could do that, but if you want set points, you would have to say these are the 7 places on the screen you can spawn. and then pick one of those locations, or you could have a random X position and a random Y position. And so every time you spawn in a totally different, totally random, as opposed to one of 7 locations. So in Halo, or in any multiplayer game, you have set spawn points, as opposed to anywhere on the map, because one, if you're anywhere on the map, you could spawn halfway inside of a building, right? So you could spawn with your right half of your body in a building and your right half inside a building and your left half outside the building. You could spawn
Your enemies.
right next to an enemy. So they want team A to be only spawning over here and team B only spawning over here.
But that changes sometimes.
It does, depending on what's going on. They may have, every team may use the same 15 spawn points, but your code checks if a player of the other team is there, go to a different one. And if there's an enemy player by every spawn point, pick the spawn point with the greatest distance between the player and the enemy player, and you spawn there.
What's your favorite Halo?
What?
What's your favorite Halo?
2 or 3, probably 3. I like the big team battle.
I should have just asked what's better, 2 or 3.
Yeah. What's up? Yeah. So, you'll have to catch up though.
Yeah.
Questions on this? Right, we just have up, down, left, right, and where we start. So now what we're going to do is right here, after exit, we need to write our if statements. So we're going to have this same if event dot type equal something. Does that make sense? If event dot type equal Pygame dot key down. Key down has to be capitalized. Is that type too small for you guys? I heard a yeah, so I'll increase it. Let's go 25. Better? Okay. Now we're going to have if event dot key equal K, capital K underscore W.
Capital W.
Lowercase w. So there is a reason why you have to have the K underscore, because I'm going to look this up. Pygame keys list. So this website,
Wait, what does the lowercase w stand for?
it's the literal W on the keyboard. So this website, pygame.org, has everything you need.
Is that like their own like things that they program that use their module, like things for stuff like
Yeah. Yeah, well, so take a look at this. So you have, if you want them to hit the space bar, all you need to type is this. So K space, K underscore space, that's the key to hit the keyboard, or the space pad.
Wait, what happens if you plug in a controller?
You have to code for that.
Oh.
Their Windows, I don't know how to do that. Windows might take the input and treat it as a keyboard input so that Pygame will treat it as a keyboard input. I don't know. You'd have to figure that out. So here's a question mark. So if they type in the question mark, if they type in M, this is the key code. The reason you have K underscore is you have keypad. K underscore, oh, this has been updated because before it was just KP. But K keypad underscore KP is the period over here, right? Because if you have a 1 on top of your letters and a 1 over here, how does your code know which one to use? You have to say either the keyboard one, which is this one, or the keypad one, which is this one. because you can have keyboards that don't have anything over here, like your Surfaces. You guys don't have any of these buttons. You do have the arrow keys, but you don't really have they're functions, but you don't have a separate keypad, and you can buy just a separate keypad if you need it. So what these codes do is they tell the computer, hey, keypad number 5 or the keyboard number 5. Yes.
Is that kind of like when Minecraft tells you to use left shift to dismount? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't play Minecraft, but yeah, that's exactly it. They've coded it for only one. So this website, guys, if you want to use multiplayer, you could use WASD for player 1 and the arrow keys for player 2. Multiplayer is very, very easy to implement. Like copy and paste code and change a few things. Type easy. Peter.
Would a game feature be able to customize your controls?
Yep. Yeah.
Could it like recognize if you're using two different keyboards or no?
Say that again?
Does it recognize if you're using like two different keyboards?
I don't know. Probably not, because your computer doesn't. Because Windows
If you had
doesn't.
two keyboards, this one and the other one, like
If you had 2 keyboards, I would have to guess that the W on both keyboard would work for the same thing.
What? It's making a capital key stands
What's
for
it
keyboard.
doing?
What's that for?
Lowercase w.
first W.
So that just needs to be lowercase.
Wait, but what
I mean, oh.
Lowercase w.
But what doesn't make sense is, let's say you're sprinting or something, let's say a game that you sprint and you hold shift to sprint,
Yeah?
and that means that you're typing in capital W now, or like is it gonna start sprinting because capital W? Like, I don't know what it's gonna
W keys W.
The W is W.
Wait, so for this game we're using the
Okay, no, but what if it's capital W?
I think
Like,
you'd
no,
have to
no,
do shift equals like speed more.
I honestly don't know if they have a capital W.
Yeah, why
This
would it
keyboard
have-
also has a list of modifier states. So you can put things together.
That's pretty cool. So like, if I'm like sprinting.
I don't think there's a capital W. I think it's just W.
Yeah.
Probably have to do
What
like
you would have to do is
A
if
underscore.
if you're hitting W and shift.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to know like how it works. Because, like, theoretically, I have to do it.
You can figure it out. So if we're hitting W, which direction are we moving?
You don't know yet.
Up.
Oh.
So player underscore up equal true.
Oh.
Why? Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. Because now you're going up. So
Elif event dot key equal capital K underscore A player underscore left is true. Yes.
If you wanted to, instead of using WASD, if you use just one player, could you make it so that's the arrow keys?
Mm-hmm. But in this game, because we have to use the mouse, we want it to be WASD. And so once you have this,
Whenever you put like key inputs, you do like K underscore and then that key. So how do you do like?
you follow these codes.
Oh yeah, no, I just talked about that.
Whatever this is. If you want it to be the question mark, K underscore question, capital question. So once you're done with that, copy and paste it twice.
like copy and paste. Wait, which section from?
What I just
So I know I kind of get it, but like from like from the line if event dot.
no. Look at the screen.
Okay,
Just the elif.
and then paste it.
Paste it twice. So you should have this. You should have the 3 if statements, elif statements that say the exact same thing.
Yes.
Obviously, we need to change the A to S. So now we have KS and KD.
So it's the player right.
KS is player down equals true. And D is player right. So make sure you have, real quick, the easiest way to check and make sure this is right. Do you have KW, KA, KS, KD?
Is there part code going to be under this event type equals Pygame.keydown?
All of this is under Pygame.keydown.
Well, like the rest of the code.
No. Just do this. So key down, then you have KW, KA, KS, KD. And then for KW, you have player up. For KA, you have player left. For KS, you have player down. And for KD, you have player right.
Correct.
If you have that, give me a thumbs up. Okay. Just chill for a sec then. Yes.
So if you're like in a Pygame and you do like a print function, will it still print it or?
It'll print it.
So
If you want to display text on screen, you have to do something else.
So what would it be to say like print something?
You would print, it shows up in the shell.
Okay, yeah.
Because when you run it, you get the shell and the Pygame window. It'll show up in the shell.
Okay.
All right, everyone have this? I think the 3 people that didn't were, I didn't see Peter's hand.
I have my hand.
I didn't see the thumb. Sonny, you got it?
Wait, is it left, down, right?
You're still checking?
Left, right.
Left, down, right. Up, down, up, left, down, right.
Yeah, sorry. I
David, you got it? All right. What we're going to do now, we're going to copy this first line. If event.type equal pygame.keydown. Oopsies. Copy it. Do not cut it.
Wait, don't cut it.
No. And you're going to paste it so that it is even with itself up here. Notice these 2 are exactly the same indent. For those of you wondering, it's 2 indents in. This cannot be indented once. It cannot be indented inside of this if statement. It has to be even with this if statement. Because can a key be both up and down at the same time?
No.
If you code it there, you're coding for a key being up and down at the same time.
In quantum physics.
We don't want that. Yeah, we can't code quantum physics yet.
Yeah?
We're not there yet.
What chapter is that?
4,892. We're on chapter 2.
Alright,
So-
we'll get there in a
We'll
couple
get
months.
to that actually.
Exactly.
We'll get there in March.
Then what we're going to do is you're going to highlight all of these. All of the if event.key. You're going to copy it and paste it so that it is under. So we have the exact, we have a copy of our key down.
Why do you just do that in the first place? Never mind.
Because I want to make sure your indents are correct.
Yeah.
You could do that too. You could copy and paste all of this, but
Shouldn't it just look identical?
it should look identical, yes. What we're going to do, you change key down to key up. Again, it has to be capitalized.
And then change true to false. All the true to false.
And then you're changing all the trues to falses.
Yay.
False.
And so your entire game is in a while loop.
Mm-hmm.
And in that while loop, like you can have, cause like I know you're gonna have other loops for your game, but this loop will always be active. Like all the loops will always be active.
Yeah.
Unless you put a loop inside of it.
If you do not put a while loop inside of a while loop. You have a for loops. With our while loops, these if statements act like while loops. because it cycles through the code every time, and every time it cycles through, it evaluates the if statement. So what you can do is you can have, and this is the key to a lot. This is the key. This concept, if you get this concept, you will do this video game will, I think, be very, very easy final. The concept is anything that's an if statement here, you can have if level equal 1 screen.blit level 1. So if I had a level 1 image, my level 1 is blank. My level, then you have something like if score equal 10 is greater or equal to 10, level equal 2. And then you have here elif level equal 2 screen.blit level 2. Then I have elif level equal 3. You guys see what I'm doing?
Yes.
Well, Mikey does.
I don't.
What I'm doing is how do you know when you got to a new level in a game? If you got to a certain point, right? If you got to the end of the level 1, it goes to level 2. If you get a certain score, so if you play Pac-Man and you get a score of 1,000, you move to the next level.
Really? What?
It's not true, but it's something like that. You have to get all of the dots, but once all of the dots equals a certain score.
No. Because you can eat ghosts.
Oh, that's right, yeah. But whatever. However you want to code it. So if however you measure changing levels, that is up to you. That is not something I can tell you how to do it. It's what you decide to do for your game. However you decide you get to a new level, this is how you do a different level, and then this is how you determine whether or not you change levels. So then if elif score is greater or equal to 30, level is 3. No, this is an example. You guys do not have to type this. This is an example of how you can do levels very easily by changing the background. What you can also do is bad guy image equals whatever. I'm not going to do it. Bad guy health is now 3, and bad guy underscore health is 10. So you set things to variables, and as your level changes, as you get higher, you change different variables. And now when we fight our bad guy, they have more health. Obviously, this may not make sense, bad guy health. Well, where do we take the bad guy health from? Well, we haven't gotten to that code yet. But this is how you have different levels with different enemy types and different health, is this right here. I have my different looking levels. I have different variables for my bad guy's health. This right here is how you do it. You have if statements. You have another one. So if power up equal true, player health equals 1,000, right? 10,000. No, don't type any of this out. If you have a health power up.
Simpler than I actually thought. So you can just put in every single condition that you want in unless it's condition.
If speed
Oh, this should be not that hard.
speed power up equal true, player speed plus or equals now 10 instead of 5, and we'll actually do this today. But I have a half hour to get. Oh, I actually have 17 minutes to get this done.
Yeah, come on.
So I'm going to comment all that out for now, and we'll get back to it. So you guys should have, yes, Peter.
Will we learn definitions and being able to call them?
I don't understand what you mean by
Or,
definitions.
like functions.
Yes. Well, it depends on if we get to it. That's the very last thing I have scheduled to learn if we get to it.
Can I write my code, like, all functionized? For the elegance of it?
1, it may not be more elegant. 2, you're more likely to run into errors. Maybe. 3, sure.
Excellent.
So you guys should have this. If event dot is pygame.keyup, and you've changed all of these to falses. The only thing we have yet to do is we now know whether or not our player should be moving. Now we actually have to physically move him. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So go to the very end of your code. Go to the very, very left of your screen. We need to indent it once. Now we do if player underscore up.
So it's a one indent.
1 indent. So if player up is true, we're moving in what direction? X or Y? Y. Is Y positive or negative? So as we're moving up, it's actually, all of you are wrong except Catherine. Catherine got it. As you move up, our Y is going negative. Because remember, we're in our coordinate. Our coordinate top left is 0, 0. So as you move up and left, X and Y decrease, and as you move down and right, X and Y increase. So if our player is moving up, we have our player underscore Y minus equal 5. It's this.
Oh, so that's like how they code it, like, if you're going, like, in a video game, there's a hill, that's how you increase the speed.
Yeah, yes and no. You would increase the speed because instead of having 5, you'd have a variable here that does math, and based on the incline, you'd go faster to simulate gravity. So, for simplicity's sake, because you need to keep track of where the person is. This is why we did running totals. This is a running total. You need to keep track of the location. You can't just say -5. Because our entire game is based on placing things at X, Y coordinates and then putting an image at that location and then changing the X, Y coordinates slightly and putting a new image, changing those coordinates slightly and putting an image to make the appearance of our character moving. It's just like a movie. If you slow down a movie to 1 frame a second, all it is a picture followed by another picture, followed by another picture, followed by another picture. But if you speed it up, it looks like things are actually moving when all it is just picture, 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 picture. And that's what we're doing. We're putting picture, 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 picture. Yes, Peter.
Could you add acceleration by like multiplying that by a variable?
You could. So this 5 here is player speed. If one of your power-ups is you change the player speed, you would put, instead of minus equal 5, you do player underscore speed. And up here, you start with player underscore speed is 5. And then right here, if they collide with a power-up, their speed changes to 10.
What was it again? Like player underscore Y is minus equal player speed or nothing else?
No, with our game, it's just minus equal 5. Our player can never change speed. So I have 12 minutes. Now, we do elif player. What's the opposite of moving up?
Player down.
Can we move up and down at the same time?
No.
So that's why you have an elif. It's one or the other. You cannot move both. Although you could code it to where if if you have if statements, this is the difference between if and elif. With if and elif, you can only be moving up or down. If you have if statements and you have both of them pushed, your character doesn't move because you go up 5 and down 5, up, down, and up, up 5, down 5, up 5, down 5. So you end up just staying in the same spot. That's the difference between if and elif. Now we do player underscore y plus equal 5. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to copy this and paste it. And instead of player up, we do left, right, and what else do we need to change? Player X and player Y.
Wait, I can't find Oh, I see. You're talking about
Just go there.
Yep.
Will your computer automatically recognize that you're doing like up and left at the same time? Like we'll go like a diagonal.
Wait, hang on. Why is it not moving?
Wait, why is it plus equal 5?
Right.
For player.
I actually know why I forgot to do something.
Oh, wait.
Plus equal is the shortcut for a running total. It has to be a running total. Do you guys understand why it has to be a running total?
Not really.
Because if you move one, so imagine this room is cut into squares, right? Ceiling tiles. Where your location is, Josh, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. So you're 5, 3. Okay? If you move 1 over, where are you now? If you were 5 to the right and 3 down and you move 1 over, you're now 6, 3. So you have to keep track of where you were to know where you are. Whoa. This one's telling where you're going, this one tells you where you are, this one tells you where you were.
Alright, let's get moving.
Back to the Future reference. Sure. So in order to know where you are, you have to know where you've been in this. Ezra, how many steps from where you currently are to where I am? Take a guess.
What do you mean?
How many steps from where you are to where I am?
Oh, 1.
1 step? You could, okay. Now if you didn't know where you are, how many steps would it take for you to get to me?
On the coding. Probably like 20.
So 20 steps. If you didn't know where you are, how many steps does it take to get to me?
No idea.
Exactly. So what you need to do is you need to store your location in order to know where you're going. You have to say, hey, I started at 100 pixels, which is our starting point, and I've moved 5 pixels to the right. My new position is not 5, it's 105. And then I add 5 to that because I'm continually moving right. So then I add 5 to that, which is 110. Just like with our wallet, if you start with 0 and I give you 5, and then I give you 5 more, you don't have just $5. You have 10. So you're constantly adding or subtracting to know where you are in a game. Does that make it?
Yeah, no, actually.
No.
Quite a bit of sense.
Okay, makes sense. Do you get it? Okay. So this is it. We have one last thing. Our code, assuming our code is correct, our guy still won't move.
Sure.
What we can do is we can print, if we don't know, I know why he's not moving. I want to see if any of you guys can figure it out in 7 minutes. So we are going to print player underscore x, player underscore Y to see, is our guy even moving? Like, is our code working to have him move?
Wait, comma, wait, so player underscore X, comma, player underscore Y.
Yeah, we're just printing these two variables. So notice, as I run, he's moving, right? My position is moving.
Oh, the image is moving.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to update the
You have to update where we blit the image. So we've been blitting our character at a hard-coded location. So no matter what we do, he's always going to go there. Where or what do we need to put here instead of 100, 100? We need to put what?
X and Y.
We can't just put X and Y. Because what is X and Y? Yeah, so player underscore X and player underscore Y. Now when you run your code, your guy moves.
Is it working?
Yeah, we'll have to find out.
No, mine's still broken.
What?
Wait, can you?
Oh, like, you felt-
I didn't. No. Mr. Stalter.
Yeah.
can you go up with him, please?
Mine
Yep.
doesn't work.
Yeah, mine does not work.
Oh, he's so fast.
What error are you getting? That's the question.
Am I getting errors?
Not moving.
He's not moving.
Oh, I'm zooming now, boys.
Hmm.
Oh, he's
I
on the
went off the screen a lot.
Yeah, your guy can go off screen. Which
Oh, that's sick.
another thing you could do to put in your game is you can put boundaries in.
Yeah.
So if his position is greater than the width of the screen, you can either have him jump to the other end, so it's like a portal,
I want that.
or you can have it stop. So if position greater than screen, make the player position whatever you want it to be. So if you get off the image,
I got it developed sometimes.
oh, that's an easy fix.
Okay, but mine.
Where is it highlighted and fix that?
KW.
Do you have a colon after
It's not
KW?
capitalized, probably.
Yeah, mine just doesn't move.
Yes.
Yeah, mine's like,
Okay, mine.
I still feel like
mine-
it's
I
right.
think that was our class. Like,
Is it working?
I have it without error, like, you don't move.
Like, this doesn't work.
So you've done this. You have screened up at player,
Yeah,
player X, comma, player Y.
like,
Yeah.
And this line is before update, right?
Oh, you gotta change that second to
Where
left
is
side.
it?
I don't know where it is in your code.
Oh, yeah.
It's before that, right?
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
So then
Switch up to left and down to right.
indents are very, very important. If you don't have this indented,
I kinda lost my guy.
this needs to be indented once. If this right here is not indented, your character won't move,
it's a move very fast.
it's not working.
right? He's not moving on mine.
Hurts you.
He's gone.
And if this
Okay.
is indented twice, you get, I think, something weird.
Oh my god,
There's
it's
a chance of
You get this. He jumps.
That's too trouble.
Wait,
Is
if
there
you do what?
anything like inside the update parentheses?
I'm changing my speed to like.
Oh darn it! I just closed out of the code.
Did you save it?
Ugh. Yeah. Well, because I just ran it, it was automatically saved. So, all right. So, your guys' homework is to get your code working over the weekend.
Its upward speed is so much higher than
I mean, what if it's.
Wait,
There's no other way.
If you that's your homework.
Wait, what happens
If it, well, I'm happy to help.
How do you make gravity for a side player?
Okay, going 100
Like,
is definitely not.
I kind of have everything,
Yeah,
but
don't
it's
do
not rude.
Make it upward speed.
Very fast.
Scroll down.
Make it upward speed so much faster than another speed.
Just going up really fast.
Okay, up and down speed are
It's like
gonna
I
be
did something really wrong, but I don't know. what.
Oh, I know.
like default's gonna be like 1.
Oh, dude, it's so almost done.
It's kind of.
Peter,
can you tell us your game idea
Run it when it happens. Let me see what happens when you run it.
It won't let me X out of
I'll
the
play through that.
WASD.
I know what's blocking my internet now. It's called virtual box.
It's not me. I'm not doing anything.
Okay, well,
I
I
can't
know what
use
this
it.
is, but it's stinks. I tried to turn off my computer
Peter,
and then
I would disable. I'd get rid of print because anytime you print something in your game, it will it slows your game down
Ah.
substantially because it's printing 30 times a second.
So like,
My game
wait,
idea
what
is
if I-
called On-Campus Message Simulator.
I don't know.
And what you
No,
do is
it's not working.
You got close out of it and rerun it.
And you have to, like,
Let me see.
select whether they're recording or not. And as the game goes
It's opening and there's no errors
on,
popping up, it's just not
email
moving
for-
funny,
a message
dude.
from Mrs. Hawkins. If you miscategorize as like spam or like sports announcement, then you lose. And as the game goes on, the messages come in faster and faster and faster. And you only have a certain amount of
Wait, so
time.
I
to do it.
wait, so how does that here?
Yeah, you could like type out different
But you have to have, you either have to somehow randomize it, which would be extremely hard, or you have to like make like.
It wouldn't be hard to randomize, you just need a bunch of messages.
Girls soccer, girls soccer.
No, this is not, yeah, girls, I would just, if I were going to do it, I'd do like.
What happens when you run it?
No.
Mario slash.
Of all the messages and use all my signal messages. I'll do real messages.
Yeah, just like,
Oh, wrong page,
just like
yeah.
print like a whole slew of like message one, message two.
You are getting an error.
Oh, I am?
It's like.
Yeah.
Where?
It would be pretty
Well,
cool.
move your Pygame screen and you
it
can
just
see it.
goes up,
And you can even loop through, so like you have more
goes up,
messages.
but not the left or right.
Pygame has no attributing key down.
Oh.
Oh, it's down. I'm an idiot.
Go over that ribbon, boys.
Oh,
Senior sucks.
If, nope.
Thank you, Mr. Stolzer.
You're welcome. Make sure your code is working for Monday. Make sure you turn in the artwork ideas.
Yeah, okay, so if
you have to like only
key
move
up.
up.
Oh, I have no idea what I did wrong. Absolutely.
Can you scroll up in your code a little bit?
Yeah.
Key down. Yeah, it's telling me that it can't.
What's the?
Oh, I should probably stop the video. Hang on.
You have to